One evening at Tidmouth Sheds, the engines were returning from a hard day's work. One by one, they arrived into their berths. They were glad to be home, except James and Gordon. Earlier that day, James had been pulling some trucks. They had been too heavy for him and he had came to a standstill on Gordon's Hill, on the express line. I wouldn't have been late with the express if you hadn't gotten stuck on the hill.
Well, I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. The goods train was a touch on the heavy side.
For a mixed traffic engine, James, you don't seem to be fulfilling your role. Why, you're nothing but a useless slacker.
Well, at least I thank my lucky stars I'm not a pompous Pacific.
Stop arguing and shut up. We have a busy day tomorrow and we need some rest.
Can't your arguing wait until the morning? We're all tired and we've had a busy day.
You're right. I'm going to sleep somewhere else.
So shall I.
But I'm
not sleeping with him. James went to sleep at the spare shed at Tidmouth Yard. Gordon went to sleep at Vickerstown. Gordon didn't mind the long journey, as he was glad to be away from James. Early the next morning, Edward was at Tidmouth Station about to leave with his early bird special to Wellsworth, when Fowler puffed into the yard. He saw him looking glum.
Hello, Fowler. What's the matter?
Fowler told Edward about what had happened at the mainline sheds.
That doesn't sound like them at all. They've been friends for so long, and yet they had the nerve to call each other names. It sounds like it'll take some hard work to get them to make amends.
Then Fowler had an idea. Perhaps if they swapped jobs for the day, then they'd reconnect with each other.
You know, it's not such a bad idea.
A little later, Edward was helping Paxton and Ryan with the shunting at Tidmouth when he saw Ben across the yard. He finished shunting the express coaches and made his way over to platform 6. Edward then told them all about what happened between Gordon and James and Fowler's plan. That's not like them, but perhaps that plan should help. Not only that, it'll teach them a lesson too. And so it was arranged. James felt prouder than ever as he hauled the express. Between every stop, James had to refill on coal and water. The passengers didn't mind. They could all see that James was trying his hardest. James boasted about his new job to everyone he met along the line.
Didn't I tell you Ben had plans for me? Realized my full potential this morning. I'm the express engine now.
I've seen it before. That engine will get his comeuppance. As for Gordon, he ended up with a local goods that James was to take. He felt indignant. A goods train! A goods train! The shame of it! Oh, the shame of it! I'm the fastest engine on Sodor! You don't seem to be going fast today, Gordon. Gordon pretended he hadn't heard Winston and set off the crank. Soon Gordon had reached his hill. He was almost at the top when he saw, "Oh, the express!" Something's up. James's guard popped his head out of the window of the last coach. "James is low on coal and water." "Serves him right for stealing my express."
I did not steal the express. Ben asked me to take it.
Gordon was about to say something, but then he stopped and thought for a moment. Maybe I do like some quiet work for a change, and I guess I don't really mind if somebody else takes the express for me from time to time. It does get very tiring.
I've forgotten how heavy the express can be for a smaller engine like me sometimes.
Yes, well, we're both really useful in our own way. Now, let's take our trains to Vickerstown together. So they did. Gordon carried on up the hill and switched onto James's line. Then his driver coupled them together. When they arrived at Vickerstown, James was very tired. Gordon agreed to make up for lost time with the express while Molly helped James home. By the time they reached Tidmouth, James, worn out from his express run, had already fallen asleep. He was awoken later that evening by the sound of whistles.
Huh? What? Who turned off the sun?
"It's night time, James." As Gordon backed down into his berth, Ben's car pulled up. Ben and Paul got out and walked over to the sheds. "Well, I hoped you two learnt some sense, considering you're a pompous Pacific and you're a useless slacker." Both engines realised what he meant.
Go on. Apologize. You're still friends, aren't you?
I'm sorry, I called you a pompous Pacific, Gordon.
"And I'm sorry I called you a useless slacker. You work just as hard as us bigger engines." "Very well then. Tomorrow you'll go back to your usual jobs as normal." And then Ben and Paul left. "Well, hopefully I won't have to haul any more of James's scrap trucks." "Of course you won't have to, Winston. Gordon would be obliged to do so." "What? Me?"
Well, you did say you enjoy some quiet work for a change, didn't you?
"Yes, but..." "Well, there you go."
I still have the flying kipper to take.
As Ben and Paul were about to enter their car, they heard the chattering coming from the sheds. They looked at each other and couldn't help but chuckle a little.